Trapping is an American pastime, one of America's oldest traditions that helped drive Western expansion, an immutable characteristic of outdoorsmen across the nation, and one of the most effective methods of wildlife conservation on the planet. This video contains graphic images and may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Howdy folks, welcome back to Dominion Predator Controls Down the Line. Today's episode you're going to see some coyotes, you're going to see some cats, and you're going to maybe see a coon or two. Let's get at it. Well folks, this is the 20th cat I've caught of the year. I've released 5 of them up to this point. I'm going to look this one's paw over real good before I decide to release it. But this looks like a medium-sized tom, 20, 22 pounds maybe. Probably not over 20, if I had to guess. Interesting coat. Got a lot of turds in it. It's been rolling in turds. I wish it had left those turds alone. I could have taken them with me, but it looks like I'll be taking those turds with me if I take this cat anyway, because they're all inside its coat. So it's a good time to catch cats, late January. We're on the, 24th, 25th? Hell, I don't even know what day it is. I think it's the 24th. Yeah. January 24th. And we got a big storm coming in. It's going to rain a lot, so I'm not going to reset any of the sets I've got. We just had a triple on coyotes, and a little while ago I had a coon. Pretty good looking coon in a cat set. So that one's flipped off. Those 3 traps that the coyotes were in are flipped off, and this one's going to be flipped off too. I'm going to leave them that way because of the rain that's coming. And this tom has like a cleft palate or something. It's got like either that or it got in a fight and something ripped the end of its nose off. So his nose is pretty worn out right there. There's a big cut in. It's already healed. It's happened in the past, but it's a good looking cat. Really good fur. You know, the cats right now look real good. Not a big one though. So this will be cat number 20 that I've caught. I've released a handful of them up till now. It's possible I release this one if the paw's okay. But we've been blessed. This is a real good spot. There's a real low bottom down in here, and there's a creek that runs along it, and I've got access to trap in there, and I haven't put any sets in there yet. They're logging on the other side of the creek on the far north end of it. And I've got access right here. I can actually get over the fence right here. The fence is real loose and it's attached to a bunch of old trees. And you got a lot of oak trees and a few pecans. And then up here you got this high spot that runs down into another low spot where there's a big pond. And I've got traps along this 2-track that runs through here that the hunters use during hunting season. And this is the first cat I pulled out of this spot. I pulled cats off this property in multiple locations. And this section of the property is almost 400 acres. So I have a handful of traps in here. Some people might say you over-trap it, but this trap's been in here for 14 days, and it finally picked up on a cat. I caught a coon in it a few days back. Old coon, big old coon. And this set's been not flipped off, but it's been dug up by coons. I got a set right here, just about 15 foot from me. And that set was dug up by coons too a couple times. I haven't caught anything in that set yet. I got 2 sets just down the 2-track here, about 40 yards away, 50 yards away, in a real good spot. That's kind of close to the inlet for the creek, where the runoff from the pond goes down into that big creek down there. And I need to put some, I think I'm going to put some cages down in here by the creek and the trails, and I'm probably going to put a few drags in there and see if I can't pull out a couple of nice big toms. I still got just over a month left of cat season, and I'm trying to catch me some nice big toms. So we're gonna get this cat taken care of. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna release it or I'm gonna harvest it. It depends on how that paw looks. So the paw seems fine from here. He's not letting me get too close. He's kind of wound up, and he's been wound up for a while, it looks like. So he tore my flagging down. Maybe he's not as wound up as I thought he was. I done been attacked by a cat once this season. I'm not looking for that to happen again. Oh, you're not getting my eye. That other one didn't get my eye either. You can see the coated wire I have with the swivel on the end of it. That flag that's sitting there in the set, while I was here, he ripped that down. It was already there. He's clawed up the tree a little bit, try to get up there, but we're gonna get cat number 20 caught, taken care of, and we'll determine whether we're gonna harvest it or not once we get a good look at that paw. Hell yeah, good looking dog right there. Flat set's paying off. Well, folks, I'm pretty sure this is dog number 55 and that this is check day 70. Yep. This is check day 70. It's a pretty good dog. I don't know if you can see too well. Here, I'll move and try and move it over here a little bit. You go on over there. Go on, go over there. This coyote here had probably been one of the ones that was messing with the set. I've had this bone moved out of the way. I had a little rock here and it was moved out of the way. Had a coon in here one time make a little catch circle and get out. And I had the set dug up, not so much dug out, but the trap pan cover dug up a couple times. I got 2 sets in right here off of this dam. And there's an old mineral site here. I don't know if it's for cattle or if it was for deer or what, but they had a mineral site here. It's cleaned up pretty good, and the coyotes have been in here, and there's 3 or 4 scats inside the mineral site. There was tracks all over the place. They dug in it a little bit. And I put 2 sets here, I don't know, almost 20 days ago, 18 days ago now. Beginning of January, about that time. I can't tell you for sure, but yes, you know, we got a lot of rain, not yesterday, but the night before. It was supposed to be a bunch of snow, and most of the people in this area got snowed out real bad, but there was this weird pocket of rain over in Tulsa and the south area south of Tulsa, and that's kind of where I'm at. And we got mostly rain and very, very little snow. It just stayed 34 degrees while everybody else around us got snow. Southeast of us, southwest of us, northeast of us, northwest of us, they all got snow, but we didn't. We got a ton of rain, and we had a bunch of sets underwater. So yesterday I didn't do much video recording. We caught 3 possums and a coon, and that was the extent of our day. I have about 10 sets that were totally underwater, and I had about 7 sets that were snapped off. So out of the 67 sets I had out, I only have about 50 that are working overnight, and these are the first 2 that I checked. And I had this dog sitting here in a flat set, and I didn't re-lure anything yesterday. Whenever after the rain came through, I just fixed a few sets and added antifreeze to a lot of sets that were on ground high enough where they weren't sitting in water. So that way they wouldn't freeze up tonight. I knew it was going to get down in the 20s. Tomorrow it's going to get down in the 20s. Tomorrow morning it's going to get down in the 20s, and then we're going to have a couple days where it stays above freezing for night and day. So we should have some good days coming. I've got some sets to remake. I'm going to pull a handful of sets and start concentrating on some other stuff. So we're going to keep trucking. We got a dog here, dog number 55 on check day 70. And the sun's up. It's already, you know, it's about 7:40 now. The sun's done come up. And getting started a little late today, but I got a little extra time today too. So we're going to get moving around. We're going to see. I got about 2, 4, 6, 8. So I got 8 sets left in here that work. 2 DPs too. So about 10 sets left in here that work. I got 1 that was totally underwater and 1 that was snapped off. So we're going to check these other sets and get moving on down the line and see what else we got. Looky there. Looks like I caught that male's female. All right. Well, folks, this is coyote number 56. And this is a mineral site right here, old mineral site. And the coyotes were digging in it. They've been playing in it for weeks, it looks like. And there's turds all over the place. And when I came here and set these about 15, 18 days ago, I put these 2 traps in here on either side of it, both flat sets. That one had some of Wayne Derrick's glandler in it. This one had some of Cletus Richard's glandler in it, with that rock as the backing right there. And that one had that bone as a backing. And I had a coon get in there and mess with that set a little bit. But yesterday I caught number 55 in that set. And it looks like I caught his jip in the next set over today. So I knew there was another set of tracks in here last night yesterday whenever I caught this dog. So now we got dog number 56. And she's pretty good looking. This was just a basic flat set, rock backing, Cletus Richards, glandler, a little bit of probably nightcat, Cletus Richards nightcat, and some urine. And that bone, when I got here this morning, just a few moments ago, that bone had been picked up and taken over there. I don't know if she did it or someone else did it, but I've been catching pretty good dogs on this property right here, so there could be other ones. I couldn't find any evidence it was another dog, but either way, front right paw catch, just like I set that up for. Whenever I make a flat set, I'm always looking for a front right paw catch. And you know, if you're a lefty, or if you just like to put stuff on the other side, you can look for a front left paw catch. But I'm never looking for a back foot paw catch, or back paw catch, however you say it. Anyway, it's a good day. A little windy. Hopefully the audio's coming through right. I waited a little late to start today because I don't have to go to work till later this evening, and I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of time out in the sun, and I got some good video, should we have any. Duck hunters are getting after it, sounds like. So we're going to get this dog taken care of. We're going to load Rahab up, and we're going to move on down the line. These are the first 2 traps of the day. Yesterday I basically got that 1 coyote, and then I had a couple of coons, I think. And I had a couple of coons the day before. And possums like crazy. I don't really record most of the possums. I don't bust this camera out for all the possums, so a lot of the possums and coon catches don't ever make it to the show, and they're not going to. I don't have time for all that. If I were to stop and pull that camera out every time I caught a possum, I'd be doing this for 6-8 hours a day. So this doesn't pay. I just do it because I love it. Nuisance trapping pays, and when you're fur trapping, you spend a lot less time nuisance trapping and a lot more time fur trapping. I got buddies that do nuisance trapping, and they'll all tell you the same thing. They don't have time to fur trap anymore. Well, I'm not going to be that way. I'm going to fur trap every year, and I'll nuisance trap around it, but I'm not going to place that one in front of the other. So I can't do it. Anyway, dog number 56 off this ranch. I think I'll make it to 80. I wanted to go to 100, but I haven't even started snaring like I've been saying I was going to do for weeks now. And I get 2 days off. I'll probably put in a half dozen this weekend, and next week I'll get 2 days off. I'll probably put in another dozen or 2 then. All right, folks. Here you can see me chipping out this bed. The ground was pretty frozen that day. You know, it's a 550 right there, and as long as you get enough of that dirt in there, it'll be all right. But you can see I'm having issues with it, and I got to scrape up some of this frozen clay from right there in the set and stick it in there so that jaw won't move. Basic setup. This is a flat set that I like a lot. That's the first time it connected. It'd been dug up twice by coons, but it finally connected on a coyote the day after the set across the way got connected on the other male coyote. But you can see the basic setup: antifreeze, peat moss, extra antifreeze in the peat moss. I'm being real liberal with it this time of year because it's cold. Dry dirt, that is local dirt. More antifreeze, and then blend it in real good. And you can see the rocks I have there, that's to kind of keep them from going too far around the right. I want to make them come on the inside of that little rock that's on the right there. But then I poke that hole up underneath where I have this rock, and I paint some of that lure on the rock. And you can see here I'm using the cat gland that I get from Cletus Richards Apple Road Predator Bait, and a little bit of his nightcat, and then a little bit of urine, and it's good to go. All right, folks, for today's product placement, we're going to talk a little bit about the products that I use inside the fur shed whenever I'm taking care of fur, whenever I'm putting it up. And everybody should have a plethora of different products and hang on to everything you can. That's going to help you out when it comes to tool-wise. But in the shed, there's a couple of specific products that I feel like I have to have whenever I'm taking care of beaver, whenever I'm taking care of fleshing coyotes and fleshing bobcats. I'm going to show you those, but I'm also going to show you the generic products that just about everybody uses. So you can see here, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I got going on, and this is a pretty standard kit. First off, you want to make sure you always have gloves of some sort. I try to have nitrile gloves that are kind of cut resistant, but also try to have the nitrile gloves that are just throwaway gloves that you can use. And whenever you're dealing with the blood of animals, or you're dealing with any kind of thing that's going on, some animals have diseases and stuff like that, so it's good to have good gloves to make sure you don't get any blood from another animal inside some cuts or anything you have on your hands. When you're using knives, undoubtedly sometimes you're going to cut yourself, and when that does happen, you need to make sure that you're prepared for it. You got some kind of first aid sitting around or whatever, and just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You got to respect the danger when it comes to knives, because it's real easy to, be in the fur shed and, get a little lighthearted, we should say, and have a good time to spend a couple hours trying to clean up your day's catch or your last couple days' catch. And it's real easy to make a mistake if you're not paying attention. So first off, you'll see some of these old knives here that are pretty dirty I've got, and I've used them hundreds of times. Just basically, when I'm boning, I'm cutting off meat. When I cut off meat off of bobcats or beaver, which I save most of that, and I use a knife like that to do it. I keep really good sharpening equipment, and this is a pretty cheap, $10, $12, $15 Smith's diamond blade, but this really works for good fine edges. I basically use something that's like this on my opening cut knives that have a real straight blade on it, and it works real good for that. But then I've got, other diamond sharpeners that work pretty good throughout the season, and then I've got steel, so you can clean up a blade real quick if you need to. But I'll be honest with you, these $10, what do they call them? It's called a AccuSharp, that's what it's called. These $10 AccuSharps, and you can buy these from different makers. Smith sells them. A lot of the other companies that make knife sharpeners sell them. These things right here really do work really good. Now, if you've got a real nice carbon steel knife that you use a lot, that you take really good care of, you probably shouldn't let that knife ever get to the point where it needs to be sharpened in this manner. This has carbide tips in it, and it just cuts the metal. It just cuts new metal right off every time. But if you're using really cheap knives like these Dexters that I have here, or even one of my favorite cheap knives that you can buy, these Moore knives right here, these things right here, I mean, it's $12, $14. I've used it since 2017. I didn't use a knife sharpener like this on it for the first 4 or 5 years, and I just would clean it up with one of these sharpening tools right here and make sure that the edge was good, and then move on down the line. But after you've cut, the skin around the heads of, 40, 50, 60, 100 critters, these knives start to wear out. And it's got good carbon steel in it, so you can always use one of these AccuSharp knife sharpeners and just put a new edge on it. Run a few swipes over it, put a new edge on it, maybe stroke it down or clean it up a little bit and get right at it, and you'll be able to go right through that critter with no problem. So knife sharpener like this, AccuSharp right here, is really good for the cheap knives that you have in the tool shed. But if you're going to use expensive, nice knives, I recommend that you never let them get that dull in the first place. I always keep a good pair of shears for cutting fur at an even length whenever it comes to cleaning up fur, whenever I'm putting them on the boards, the hands or the arms, and everything around it. Whenever I cut the jaw off, a lot of time I'll use something like this. Whenever I'm glanding coyotes, I gland coyotes with a fillet knife, and I try to use a nice fillet knife, something that's nice, long, and skinny, so I can get all the way down in there whenever I'm cutting the rear ends out. And I carry these around with me. I've got them in the bucket that I carry in my buggy, and then I've got one here in the shop. I've probably got 4 or 5 of these laying around. But a good fillet knife is a good way to go. You can use this in a lot of situations. If you're cleaning up ears, you're cleaning up fat around the face on the inside of the fur. If you're glanding an animal, a knife like this will get the job done quick. And I already spoke a little bit about this knife, but the Moore knives, I love these knives. They have a Scandi grind on them. If you're into bushcraft at all, Moore knives are kind of revered as one of the cheapest, best knives you can buy for bushcraft, because this knife, is just made in such a way where you can do a lot of work with it whenever you're out in the bush. But here, you know, whenever it comes to skinning animals, I got one of these. I started using it to skin animals, and I haven't quit ever since. I use these Dexter knives, and this is my opening cut knife that you'll see here. Right? That opening cut knife's really nice. And then I've got this Dexter, you know, just regular skinning knife that I use. And this is a good knife. These knives I've had for 3 or 4 seasons now. I did all of my opening cuts and everything with this Moore knife the very first season that I trapped. I didn't even own any of these other knives. But the Moore knife really helped me out a lot, just so you know. But the Dexter knives are great. And these knives, I've had these for 3 or 4 years. And if I start having a problem with it, I'll just run the skinning knife under the AccuSharp. And this knife right here, I barely use because I just use for opening cuts and maybe getting some stuff around the legs a little bit. And anytime I do that, I do a straight diamond sharpener, so I don't let it get too dull ever. I never get it to a point where it needs to actually be sharpened on its own. And then my beaver knife, this is one of those things that I told you I didn't feel like I could go without. When it comes to trapping, you want to be able to skin your beaver quickly, and you need a good knife to do it. And there, you know, you can use a knife like this when you're getting around the back, the gristle around the back, or whatever you want to do. But a knife like this will do it real quick. And a knife like this, I try and keep really sharp. I don't ever let this knife get out of whack. I try not to ever use anything other than a really easy sharpener on it because I'm trying to keep it in good shape. And I don't use this around the face of the beaver whenever I'm cutting into the face, around all those glands that are around the face. I use a knife like this or a knife like that Moore knife right there. But I try not to use this whenever it comes to bone. But these Dexter beaver knives are great. A lot of people make great beaver knives. This is the only one I've ever owned, and if I didn't have this knife here, I'd be pretty upset. I'd probably take a Moore knife and grinding the end of it off and rounding it out so I could use it instead. Other equipment that's real important is going to be your tail stripping and your tail zipper. And you can use a knife. I've seen guys just use knives whenever they zip tails. But on the stripper, it's important to have this. You can do it without that too if you want to. I've seen a lot of people use different types of equipment or just, you know, run the handle of something in there, grab a hold of the fur where the handle's at, and then grab a hold of the tail and pull the tail straight out. So it can be done. But something like this makes it real quick and easy, and I enjoy having quick and easy stuff when it comes to the trap line or in the first shed. I'm an economy trapper. I try not to spend too much money, and I try the money that I have. I try to have the money that I do spend go a whole long way before I'm done with it. And then, of course, you got to have stuff to be able to clean up the fur before you skin it. Anytime you're, you know, dealing with an animal inside the fur shed, you want to make sure you get all the cockerels out of it, all the ticks, all the little things in it, the mud, and, you know, everything. You want to get that out of it before you skin it. That way, whenever you do flesh it, you don't have anything to poke a hole through it whenever you do it. And speaking of fleshing, we're going to talk about the best knife that I own when it comes to trapping. And that's going to be Lee Steinmeier's wide knife. And a lot of people use knives. There's a bunch of different knives out there. A bunch of knives will get the job done. But this knife will do every damn thing you need it to, whenever you're fleshing an animal. It's got 2 sides to it, and I'll try and get an image of both edges so you can kind of see what it's like. And I can see it right here, but this is the edge that you push with, the edge that's rounded. You push with this edge. And what happens here is that this edge is, I've got it kind of flattened out. And I just used my diamond knife sharpener to just barely take the top of the edge off, just a little bit. And just from here to here, so from here down to the edge, that whole thing's flat, but just barely. And then on this little spot right here, just this last, you know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, that is razor sharp. So I can start a cut if I need to, and then push it off with the flat side of the knife right there. This edge here, the curve that goes upright, this edge here is totally sharp, razor sharp. And if you're using this on coons or otter or something that's gonna have some really serious gristle on the back, or even, you know, beaver in certain spots, you're gonna be able to flip this over and use that really sharp edge to get those cuts started and then push them on through. But whenever it comes to coyotes or bobcat, you never need a sharp part on the skin anywhere. You don't want to run the chance for it either. But when it comes to or coyotes, you're going to use that part almost all the time. Maybe right around the base of the neck and a couple of spots right up there. You might need to just kind of cut in a little bit to get that out of there with that little 2 inches of razor sharp blade. But almost all of it is going to be just you pushing the gristle, pushing the fat and the underskin off. And this knife right here has saved my butt a whole lot of time. like I was saying in my last episode when I was talking about my skinning base, that, you know, when you first start out, you're probably going to spend a good, if you spend an hour, hour and a half skinning your first animal, don't be mad about it. You need to learn. But after you've done it a while, if you didn't have anybody to show you, like I didn't, I just listened to the guys online and found a couple videos from Coon Creek Outdoors and some of those guys that have put out videos, and that's how I learned. And I spent a lot of time skinning animals my first year. My second year, I noticed I got a little faster. By the third year that I was skinning animals, I was pretty much flying through my coyotes and cats. And this last season, I could, you know, I'm skinning an animal real quick. And you know, if you spend enough time doing it and you're actually catching 20 to 50 animals a year, skinning them, before you know it, you're going to be really good at this. You're going to be teaching anybody how to do it. But getting you a really good fleshing knife is an important thing. And you can you can get a hold of Lee, call him on his phone, find out what's going on there, and he'll set you up with one of these. I'm pretty sure he's still making knives. But if he's not making knives, there are a lot of people out there that make really good knives. The Necker knife is almost the same thing as Lee's little skinny knife. And I don't have one of Lee's skinny knives. I need to get them. But that knife right there has saved my butt a whole lot of time. And between that and that beaver knife and that low skinning base that I got there, I've gained a whole lot of time. And time is money. And whenever you're working full time and trapping full time, you don't have much time to spare. So it's important to be able to get that taken care of. I guess we better get back at it. Let's see what other trapping we got to do. Well, damn. Got a coon and a 650. Don't usually catch a coon in a 650, or at least hold them. So, must not have been here too long. No, it's just a little guy, looks like. But coons are on the move. Hadn't even started chewing on itself at all. So it must have just got in there in the last couple hours. So, we'll get this little guy out of here and remake this really good looking cat set I had right here. It's a good place too. Really good field. Creek right in behind it. Right on the creek. Beaver dam just around the corner on the creek. Got another set in right down there. Expected to see some more cats in here. I haven't caught any cats in this 40 yet, but I've caught plenty of coyotes. 6 coyotes out of here so far. And a handful of coons. Well, we'll get after it. Well, looky here. What we got here? Looks like we got us another dog. This will be dog number 57. We're doing real good. I pulled 7 dogs now off this property right here alone. And it's just a small 40-acre property. But I caught the only coyote double I've had this year was on this property, and the only coyote triple I've had this year was on this property. That's only the second coyote triple I've ever had in my life. I had doubles on coyotes my first season on a couple of different spots, and I've had doubles pretty much every year since. But triples is something I've only done twice. Early 2020 I had a triple, 2019-2020 season, and then just 4 or 5 days ago I had a real good triple here on this property. 40 acres. I've seen coyotes in here. There's another coyote I saw in here that I spooked up the other day when I drove through with my nephew. And that was pretty early in the morning. And that coyote didn't look like this one. This one looks a whole lot better. So 72 check days on this ranch. And I've been picking up more coyotes the last 3 weeks than I basically did the month before that. And I'm happy about it. It's a good deal. But this place, I could, you know, if I'd done what some of the conventional knowledge in the trapping community says to do now, I'd have done pulled up and left these places, and I wouldn't be trapping here anymore, and I'd have missed all these dogs. So we're getting dogs that might have been too smart to get caught before, and we're really knocking them down. I set some I didn't set any new property today, but I did put in a snare or two. I'm starting to kind of put in snares and kind of pulling back some dirt traps, and I'm going to concentrate on cats and snaring dogs and concentrate on beaver. And I expect to get some decent beaver in the next month, 2 months. And I expect to snare a good handful of dogs, good mess of dogs before I'm done. But I only need a handful of cats left that I can harvest. And I found some really good cat property today that I've been scouting. I spent about 2 hours in there scouting real hard, and I got cat tracks and cat toilets and the whole 9 yards. So I found some spots, and the cattle are getting ready to be back in there, so I'm not going to be using dirt traps. I'm going to use cage traps. I got 1 cage trap here on this property, and I got 3 at the house. So I'm going to load them all up, and tomorrow I'm going to set all 4 cage traps back in there on those cats and see what I can pull out. I found 1 track that was huge, good 30+ pound tom, maybe a queen too, but it's a big cat, and I'm hoping to get a hold of that one. So dog number 57 on check day 72. I'm behind. If I was to catch 1 dog a day, I'm behind about 15-18 dogs, so I need to pick it up a little bit. But it's a good looking dog. Would have made a great pelt just a couple months back. But now you can see they're getting kind of silky, and their underfur is really gone except for on their neck, but everything on their back's pretty much gone. The rear end haunches, he's not too tore up. He must be one of the better dogs. But either way, he won't be killing any more calves. He definitely isn't going to eat any fawns this year in May drop. So we're going to get this dog taken care of, and we're going to move on down the line. All right, folks, resetting this 650. You can see it, I looked at it and it wasn't very level. So I snapped it off and I pulled out my file there, and the file is just spaced enough to be able to fit down in there, that bastard mill file. And I pushed down on that pan just a little bit to make sure it was level again, and then it was level back out. That's about the only problem I've had with the 650 is the fact that the pan gets bent out of shape more often than I'd like it to, and I have to fix it more often than not. But that trap bedded real good. Same setup as normal. Antifreeze, lots of antifreeze, like I said before. It was real cold this time of the year, and it was going to keep getting cold and wet. And peat moss antifreeze, dry dirt antifreeze, local dirt. You can see some of my antifreeze still exposed there. But once I get done setting this up and putting the backing in there and setting it up in a way where I'm going to drive my hole and put all my lure and everything inside of it, I come through and I sprinkle grass all over it to kind of blend it in. And I think that looks like it was Wayne Derrick's Cat Gland Super Cat, and then Wayne Derrick's Pecos. Sprinkle the grass in, shot of urine, and that thing is good to go. Well, look at what I got here. Wind is really bad, but that look at this guy. That's a big one right there. I'm impressed with this one. This is a good one. He's got to be north of 30. 28 to 35. It's a big cat. He took a hefty turd for me though, so I'll take that with me. Got a couple other turds here in set. Get out. Tramples them. But this is a good cat. Get around over here and see if he can spook up for you a little better so you can see him. Go on, go over there and settle down. I'm stoked. This is a great day. I spent a lot of time scouting. I found some really good spots for cats. I found some really good cat sign in another acreage that's not too far from here, a couple miles away, a few miles away. And I'm not sure what our cat population is here, but I've caught some really, really big cats, and I've caught some nice cats. And I'm pretty impressed with the way it's worked out. The trap season's been good. You know, this is a cat set. I've already caught a cat in this set before. I've caught 2 coons, 2 possums, a cat and a coyote in this set. And now I've got this cat. So 2 cats, 2 coons, 2 possums, and a coyote. And here, let me get around here a little bit. Go on. There you go. Settle down. That way y'all get a good image. I couldn't tell whether you could see him or not from there. Whether you can see me or not from there, but I don't think that really matters. What matters is this cat. That's a good looking cat. That's a big cat. It's not, you know, beautifully spotted up like some of the other smaller ones I've caught. But its belly's got some great fur on it. You can tell how well it's furred in by the face, the hair of the face. And working a set that I'd been using the same thing on for a while. It was Wayne Derrick's Pecos, Wayne Derrick's Super Cat Glandler, and Andy Weiser's Super Cat, which is a lion rubbler that's real skunky. I use it as a collar. We're going to take care of this cat and move on down the line and see what else we got. Till then, Dominion out. Well, folks, we got us a dog here. This is a set that I already caught a coon in once. Well, maybe twice, I'm not sure. But, get all this off so you can see me a little better. We got us a dog here. This is dog number 58 on this property. I'm not sure, the lighting's not great, so it is what it is, but I'm checking at night for a little while. We got a bunch of white stuff in, and it was a cold time. Tomorrow we're going to have some more snow and maybe a little more sleet come in, and it's going to stay frozen all day in the 20s with wind chills in the single digits, or wind chills in the single digits or teens. And this is the first dog we've had today. We've checked almost 30 traps, probably right at 30 traps, 31 traps, and we still got another 39 to check. I got 3 over here that I've had a triple in already and had a double in it also. And there's a set right behind the camera there that I caught a coyote in just a couple days back, and this one had a coon in it a couple days back, and now I've got this coyote. I've had one more coyote on the other side of the property here, so I think I pulled 8 out of this one spot. It was 40 acres, and you know, you could easily put 8-10 traps in a place like this and clean up a handful of coyotes if you're on location. So I was in a good spot, and we're gonna get this dog taken care of. If it was a little more windy, I probably wouldn't even mess with the camera and we'd just use my phone. But get this dog dispatched. I'm gonna remake this set because it might catch a dog tonight. I got a set right over here. I'm gonna add some more antifreeze too. I've been putting antifreeze on sets the last hour and a half, and haven't had any. I had one set dug out from the backside, and I should have caught that dog, but I didn't. So, and he just did that in the last 2 hours since it was starting to get dusk and got dark. So it's only about 7:40 at night, and still got almost 40 sets left to check. So we got some time to put in. Hopefully this isn't the only dog we caught today or last night, but this set will be primed and ready. Catch another dog tonight. So I'm gonna get after it. We'll get this dog dispatched. We'll get back and rehab the Red Ranger, and we'll move on down the line. Well, folks, thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends, and I'll see you next time on Down the Line. And until then, Dominion out.